So for a quick sort of intro guide to this, please welcome our very own Marcel in the shades.
All right, are we live? Fantastic. All right, as much as it is very, very bright up here, I'm going to lose the rockstar wanker look and get on with the show. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about Reason, or I would if my computer didn't fall asleep, which is not a good place to start. Can we get the slides back up? We've been given the all clear by the man. All right, cool. So, Reason. The initial title for this talk was going to be a speed date with Reason, because when you meet a piece of new technology, you sit down with it and try and figure out whether it fits well into your life. And it's a real commitment, because if you make the wrong choice, you can be cleaning it up for 30 years or more, like OOP. So, it's important that we look at Reason, we find out if it's good for us, we find out if it's something that we can live with long term, and something that we can be happy with going into the future. So, you're all good engineers. Over years, your code has gone from looking like this, to looking like this, to looking like this. You've built up a collection of tools to make rich web applications that you can maintain well, that are predictable, that you can ship with ease, and you're very happy. And you know all these TypeScript people are off in Angular land somewhere doing something, but you've always written something that approximates to core JavaScript. And you've been happy about that. Then one day, Sheng Lu gets on stage and says, "Hey everyone, I want you to write in Reason." And you put your head in your hands, and you go, "Oh no, I wanted to avoid this, I wanted to stick to core JavaScript." But then you pay a little bit of attention, and you go, "Reason, syntax and toolchain for OCaml." You immediately have questions, like, is it April 1st? You check your phone? No, normal day. And so you go, all right, Sheng Lu's serious. What's this about? Because he really does mean OCaml, that 20-year-old systems language, OCaml. He's trying to push it on you now. And somehow Reason's involved. So what is the relationship between Reason and OCaml? Well, Reason is kind of like this umbrella term for a number of things that help you interface with OCaml. So it is a new syntax for OCaml, a meta-language, if you will. So you can write you can write Reason and have OCaml bytecode output, but in a familiar way. It also involves a compiler workflow, more on this later, and docs, libs, and utils that'll help you along your merry way. OK, that's all good. And just to prove that it really is just a meta-language for OCaml, there's this thing called Reason Tools, where you can go straight to the OCaml documentation and have it be magically transported into Reason documentation, so you can get on with your work. So you have languages like, can an old language like OCaml really be relevant to us now? It wasn't popular 20 years ago. Can it really be popular now? Well, old languages seem to be coming back as a bit of a renaissance recently. Take, for example, Erlang and its newer partner, Elixir. Both run on the Beam VM, and Erlang has existed for years in a telephony world, doing stuff in the background you've never really noticed. Then, the need for distributed, high concurrency, fault-tolerant systems increased. An example of which is WhatsApp. And everyone was very impressed that Erlang could power this whole organization with a very small number of engineers and very minimal hardware. Then it was bought for $19 billion, and everyone was fantastically impressed at Erlang. And now Erlang is cool again. Check out Elixir if you haven't. It's fantastic. So, next question. Marcel, you absolute idiot. Even if I write OCaml, it doesn't run in my browser. Well, unfortunately for you, that's no longer an excuse. Bloomberg, a company that specializes in selling you fancy but very expensive keyboards, has invented something called BuckleScript. BuckleScript will take your Reason and OCaml and turn it into JavaScript. That's right, your flow is Reason/OCaml into BuckleScript into JavaScript. At this point, you might be asking if I'm having a laugh. If this is one of those obfuscated C competitions where you try to get from A to B in the most circuitous way. But no, we're deadly serious. So let's ask the real question you're asking, which you never thought you'd ask, which is, why should I write JavaScript in a meta-language, a 20-year-old systems language that's compiled to JavaScript by a fancy keyboard company? Welcome to 2017. Right, there are some good reasons that you should use Reason. That was clever, you should laugh. So all this tooling we've developed over the years to make the applications robust and make development a joy go away. They're absorbed into the core language and the core toolchain. So just to prove this to ourselves, let's go through them. Flow adds types to our JavaScript, which is fantastic. Gives us all this cool type safety and stuff. Well, OCaml is a type language. Easy, win. And Flow is written in OCaml anyway, so. This means, of course, you get all the editor support you might expect. You have all your arguments have types. Your return types are known. You get lots of cool help in your IDEs. Amazing. Babel. Now, Babel takes the code we actually write and turns it into code that our browsers will run. BuckleScript does the same thing, but there are other metrics to rate the goodness of a compiler on. So, for example, BuckleScript compiles 10 times faster than TypeScript, which is already faster than Babel in most cases. Sorry, said Mackenzie. And it can also produce human-readable JavaScript output. And I'm going to test this with the audience, because I've got 2 pieces of code coming up, one written by a human, and one output from the BuckleScript compiler. I want you to put your hands up for which one you think is human. This is number 1. Hopefully that's roughly big enough. This is number 2. I feel like an optician. All right. Hands up for human number 1. Few hands. Hands up for who thinks the human wrote number 2. So it's a trick question. They were both made by BuckleScript, but it was kind of an even split in the audience, which proves my point. I stole that gag entirely from a handsome young devil called Sean Grove. He does some fantastic tweets about ReasonML, and he also has a few good talks on YouTube, so check him out if you haven't already. OK, what else do we use? We use Prettier. This makes our code into a predictable format where we don't argue with each other all the time. Well, again, Prettier was, well, we still argue, obviously, because there's 4 options or whatever, so they're worth dying over. So Prettier was actually taken from Reason format, which means that it already has exactly the same functionality and is faster and has fewer options, which is good. ESLint. So since we have types and since we have something akin to Prettier, we don't really have much left for ESLint to do. It still does a few things, but most of the error checking in Reason is done at compile time, which is an improvement. With better errors, which is the sort of like add-on and soon to be integrated into ReasonML, we get these really, really helpful, friendly errors. So it tells you, how you fucked up, why you fucked up, and how to unfuck yourself, which is extremely important. This is very similar to Elm, and it's not quite at that level yet, but it's getting there. Can I swear? Too late now. So, it's very, very helpful. It holds your hand. It's like, Sean Grover described it as a robotic pair buddy, right? And in that way, it's very true. OK, but it does more than that. It tames the meta-language. So Sheng Lu had this sort of like whole 2-talk spiel about like how Reason tames the meta-language. And it's well worth watching. But I'll try and like encompass what that means very, very quickly. So the meta-language are the things around the code that we need to do to deliver code and functionality. So here's a quick example. Let's say you want to deprecate a function. How are you going to do that? Well, you could roll along in your chair to your teammate and be like, don't use this anymore, I'm going to delete this, which is great if everyone's always sitting next to you. You could comment it, but not everyone reads the source code properly. You could be naughty and have a console log. Maybe you could get everyone together and decide that this kind of special format of comment will mean deprecated, and we can make an IDE plugin. But eventually, if you get big enough, you're going to end up tweeting at people, writing blog posts to inform everyone, these are going to be the breaking changes in blah-de-blah version blah. And that's terrible. OCaml, on the other hand, has inbuilt deprecation functionality. So you can say exactly what's going to be deprecated, why, and suggest what else to use. And since this is part of the core language, you can automate around this. You can be very sure that this is going to be something that people are aware of in a way that you really can't be with JavaScript. So it does loads of cool stuff like that, which is nice. It makes our lives easier. It means we have to stress less and tweet less. Or at least when we can tweet funny things rather than, I'm sorry, it's broken. Please stop posting GitHub issues. All right. The other thing about OCaml that's amazing is the insane reach it has. So JavaScript's everywhere nowadays. Everywhere from our browser to our desktop through Electron, even to our hardware with Johnny 5 and stuff like that. And with React 16, we're going to have Fiber, so we can write renderers for everything. And it's going to be amazing. We can go anywhere that JavaScript can touch. Anywhere JavaScript can touch. OCaml can compile natively to your applications on any sort of processor, basically. So you can have real performance on real runtimes on real devices, and that's absolutely amazing. So now, like a whole different level of reach of devices and places to write reason in. And looking into the future, there's also something called unikernels. Who's heard of a unikernel before? Yeah, all the badgers. We spent way too long on Hacker News, that's why. So you know, like when you make an application, you write it all up, you test it because you're a good engineer, and then you go like, aha, I want to give it to the world. And then you plonk it on the server somewhere, and that server has to have an operating system, because otherwise it won't work. Because you need things like a TCP/IP stack that isn't part of your node server or whatever. Well, those crazy people in the world of OCaml have come up, or they haven't come up with it, but they have been implementing parts of the OS over time. So you can just pull in that stuff into your application. So if you just need a TCP/IP stack, you can go get the OCaml TCP/IP stack, stick it into your application, and you've got like one single blob without the operating system that you can just stick on a hypervisor, and it'll run. And this means you can have some amazing advantages. So obviously, you have security advantages because you don't have the whole attack surface of an operating system. You also have insane performance advantages because you're not loading loads of stuff you're not using. It's never going to cause you trouble, which means you can do stuff like make entire applications and operating system bits together between the range of 800 kilobytes and 10 megabytes, and it'll boot in about 20 milliseconds, which is faster than a serverless function, which is absolutely insane. So unikernels, going to be big in the future. Watch this space. But this is a React meetup, so let's talk a bit about how we're going to use Reason with React. And good news, everyone, Reason-React, which are a bunch of bindings for React, not a rewrite of React in Reason. So hold your horses a little, but you can write React in Reason today. And what does that look like? It looks kind of like this. Now, if you squint a little, it kind of looks like a standard ES6 class component with kind of like a funny accent. And you can tell this is a reason because my syntax highlighter absolutely refuses to work. But you've got all the bits you want, right? You've got your create element, you've got your props. You know, this is all like readable to someone who's written like a bit of React and a bit of JavaScript. They can sort of get what's going on. You know, it's non-terrifying. But you don't have to wait for a greenfield project to like begin to try this out, because remember, BuckleScript makes very, very nice JavaScript, which means you can just make it part of your build chain. You can start writing components in Reason today, and then just taking the output of that Reason. Oh, I think this is a laser actually, which I've never actually used, but I'm going to use it now. Oh, no. I'm not going to use a laser now. I'm going to find out how that works another time. Oh, well. But so when you have the BuckleScript output in your component, what will happen is it'll make this JavaScript file, which is perfectly readable, and then it'll have this export of comp, which is the component. So you can pull this into your normal JavaScript components already and have it work. It'll just be, you can just make sure the Webpack goes to that folder as well, the JS source folder, and it bundles up everything it needs. And hey-ho, half your code base can now be in Reason. I think 25% of Messenger.com is now written in Reason in this way, which is pretty cool. So, what's next? Oh yeah, Matthias, famous walking famous walking President Trump orangish square of a human being, has recently released something that makes our life much easier, which is create Reason-React app. So we all know and love create React app. It does a lot of stuff for us. But what this does, it does some of the really simple stuff to help you get going. So I'm going to do a really quick live demo of how this works. May the demo gods bless my soul. So I'm not actually going to do very much. I would like to state also that normally I rock a really cool dark IDE, but it looks terrible on projector, so we're going to go with this light one today. So this is the file system of your general Reason-React thing. I always start in package.json when I want to understand something. And you can see you've got all the stuff you would kind of expect. So you've got a Webpack server that just takes your JavaScript files. You've got this BSB watch, which is essentially just BuckleScript watching your files for changes, and it'll compile JavaScript out of them again if it needs to, and then Webpack will bundle them up again, and it'll just serve them to the world in the way we know and love. If you look at the actual source code of our application, it's very simple. It's just a little like app that has some JSX in it. You can use JSX in your Reason, of course. It has a header, it makes a little SVG, and it basically says, to get started, edit blah, 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 blah. And if we look in the localhost 8080, I think. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. Oh, let's start it. That'll help. Let's do a yarn start. Hey. Cool. Let's try again. Ah, there you go. And it's very similar to our Create React app. You know, you've got all the bits and pieces. We can even update it a little. So we don't have all this fluff, and we just have like a hello and a header maybe. I was very impressed with David's on-screen words per minute, because I do not have the ability to stand in front of you and type that quickly. Also yell if there's anything wrong, because, you know, that's going to be really embarrassing otherwise. Well, that didn't work. Oh, here we go. Actually, I was just testing out the failure message here. It's fine. After you line one character, blah, blah, blah. Any tips? I'll take that as a no. OK. Well, you get the drift. This is very, very new. This is very new. It was only released, I believe, the day before yesterday. So, you know, there's bound to be some bugs with his software, not mine. But, you know, it's all good. OK. Now, you might be asking, OK, this is all fun and games, but I'm a React Native developer. Well, we've got you covered. Some guy by the name of WiIl is doing a really bang-up job trying to make BuckleScript bindings to React Native. It's very early on. He's only got some of the components loaded at the moment. But if you want to contribute to that, you know, go there, have a look, enjoy yourself. So I guess the real question we want to ask is, should I use Reason now? And the answer, in my honest opinion, is not yet. It still has a little bit of way to go. It's still extremely immature. The documentation is sparse. There are times when I've gotten very frustrated trying to figure something out, why something crashed on my laptop, why this will work on this laptop, not on that laptop. It has a small ecosystem. There is a package manager incoming, but obviously there aren't any real packages yet. There's not much in the way of tutorials in the community. The community that is there is often systems-orientated. So when you walk into an IRC chat room, you're like, hey, guys, I'm trying to make my web app in Reason. And your OCaml stuff, they kind of look at you a bit funny. So, you know, it can be very isolating, and it can be frustrating. There's lots of questions we haven't answered, like how do we properly handle async stuff in a maintainable way. And sometimes, you know, you'll get very, very frustrated, and you'll start going to some dark corner, clutching a bottle of whiskey and looking a bit like this guy. Don't worry, that's not the red badge officers. At least not yet. What I would suggest is, if you want these fantastic features we talked about today in your world to make your web applications, use Elm. Elm has a fantastically welcoming community. It has a great functional syntax. It lets you be extremely productive very quickly. It has a package manager in place with extremely robust packages. And there's already some very large applications you can use to guidance, which will help you, you know, make your own very large, very successful applications. Hooray. So today I would suggest you would use Elm if you want to make something cool and new with all the features we've described here today, except insane reach, unfortunately. But Facebook seems to have thrown a lot of weight behind ReasonML. They've used it for a number of projects now. They're using OCaml for Flow and parts of Infer and Hack, I believe. And they seem determined to really, really make Reason a thing. And to be honest, if it matures and if it becomes accessible and usable with lots of helpful packages and a good ecosystem, it's going to be a completely different way of writing applications that we'll love. So today Elm, but in a year's time, probably Reason. Thanks for listening. Cool, I guess I should ask for questions, but please don't ask anything hard. Am I going to get away without any questions? Oh no, there's someone moving. I hope you're not just going to the bathroom.
Hey, thank you for your presentation.
No worries.
So, I mean, Reason is like strict functional, right?
No, it's actually kind of mixed. You can write functional. You can write it as a functional language. Let me use words. You can use it to write in a functional style very easily. It has all the good stuff in it. You know, good pattern matching, good data types, everything you need. It's actually a little more forgiving. So unlike Elm, which really forces you to go all functional away, you can actually be much more procedural in OCaml and therefore Reason if you want to be.
Because my actual question is, how does the interoperability with JavaScript works?
How does the internal?
Yeah, how could you can you talk with JavaScript?
Well, I mean, because of the BuckleScript output, you can just take that JavaScript it makes and then import it like you would any other JavaScript class, and then use Webpack or whatever tool you prefer to bundle it up and use it as normal JavaScript. But you just don't have to put it through the Babel step.
So yeah, my question is regarding like the type system, right? Because like in JavaScript you don't have the type system. So how does Reason know about the types in JavaScript? Can you import flow into Reason? So the flow.
So it's typed. Reason is typed already, right? So that's fine. But the output is just normal JavaScript, which of course is untyped. Oh, I think technically JavaScript has 3 types and they're all naff.
Yeah, but like from the other way around, if you want to like use any kind of JavaScript library in your Reason.
Okay, that's much more difficult. There's a good example from Shenglu on doing interop on the Reason-React page, which I suggest checking out. It's a non-trivial answer, I think. Got there eventually.
Any more questions? Excellent. I think on your example, did you need to surround the string with React string to element? Or do you not need to do that on the web one?
You know what? You might well be right. Let's not try it now.
Nah.
Let's just look at a picture of me mucking up instead. Yeah.
Old picture. Right, thank you very much, Marcel. Top Ken Wheelering.